focused on spreading mindfulness amongst youth and adults. And we've been running these workshops for a few years now. And we basically teach practical techniques to make mindfulness part of your daily life. And the main speaker today will be Prithvi. And Sonali will do the last part of the advanced self-pointing experiments. And we will run through some meditations in the middle. So with that, Prithvi, I think you can get started.
So we are recording this session?
Yeah.
Okay. Super. So last Sunday, I'd given a recap, right, of the framework that we use in MindGym. And in fact, we did not get too much time to actually do the exercises. So this Sunday, we are going to do the exercises. But generally speaking, again, a quick review of the techniques that we use, like with the goalkeeper's analogy. If you are a goalkeeper, if think about your attention as a goalkeeper, and then distractions are coming like a football towards you. And so what we do is that we have two techniques. One attempt is to just make sure that when the distraction comes, we don't grab onto the distractions. So letting go of distractions, which basically we had this puppet show of how we do this, right? This letting go of distraction is so this is a default mode network activity, which is our the circuits that have for mental chatter, and this is, say, our attention. So what we do is that we teach it to let go of this distraction by coming to an anchor, right? So holding on to an anchor. So we say that, okay, every time you try to come to the anchor, every time you get distracted, as soon as you realize you are distracted, come back to the anchor. And doing this exercise, which is almost like a net practice. So when you do this net practice, you build up the skills to actually do it well in real life, which is the real match. So the better net practice you do in real life, if you have those distractions, you'll be able to let it go. And just in case, if you are not, most of the cases it will be with your best intent, you won't be able to let go of all distractions. And if those thoughts thoughts actually trigger biochemicals in your bloodstream, it'll go and appear as sensations, which you'll interpret as emotions. So the second exercise is that is for us to watch the sensations and not get too much entangled with it. So we have two exercises. One is the anchoring, where we learn how to let go by coming back to an anchor. And the second one is if we are not able to let go using anchoring, watch the sensations equanimously, and that way the associated emotions like anger and anything else will dissolve, and with time, with practice. So that is basically the context. So what I'll do is we can start off with, let's start with belly breathing, the first technique. So through this exercise, so when you breathe in, our belly should go out. Breathe out, belly goes in. Breathe in, belly goes out. So let's do about 10 of these. Your in-breath and out-breath should be same, approximately. If you have a longer out-breath, so if you are feeling wired, you can have a longer out-breath, it will calm you down.
You can basically count on your fingers when you are breathing in 1, 2, 3, breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4 will be, out breath will be longer. So like that, you can actually count and you can make sure you're breathing equally, or out breath longer or in breath longer. In breath longer will energize you a lot.
Yeah, if you're feeling sleepy just before a conference and all, then you can have a longer in breath and shorter out breath. Hopefully we don't have to do it today here. Okay, so Before we go into the exercises, I can open it up for any questions. If anybody had any questions from the last session, because we didn't get to speak a lot. So we can probably take 1 or 2 questions before we get into those exercises.
There are a couple of new people, Prithvi. So if you can just explain DMN and TPN and why the mind, the thoughts come all just in a couple of minutes, summarize it.
Okay, I can do that. So essentially, so I spoke about these 2 techniques that we are going to learn, right? And the first one was the anchoring technique, where basically what we said was that we learn not to get entangled into distracting thoughts. So with the context of that, I, for one, did not know that we have more than one modes of thinking, right? And then I was really surprised to find out that there are actually not one but 2 modes of thinking. One is basically related to our default mode network, DMN activity. So this is a network which actually is associated with mental chatter in a way that the thoughts about past and future. So the default mode network always will have serve you thoughts which take you either to the past or some projection into the future. And in contrast, the task positive network, it is used for focused problem solving. So when you are doing some problem solving in math, either maths or bio, anything else, homework or office work, PPT, you're totally focused on that work, then your task positive network gets activated. What happens is when default mode networks gets activated, it shuts down TPN. So only one of them can be activated at the same time, right? So because of that, if you are doing mental chatter, you lose your ability to do focused problem solving, right? And then we also established a measure of what do you mean by focus, right? So essentially we have our brain's capacities to process about 128 bits per second, 126 or 26 bits per second, and it takes about 60 bits per second if you call them points. So we can actually have 126 points as part of our attention, and 60 points will be used up if you are just following one audio conversation. So the idea is for us is that if we have mental chatter, a lot of that 127 points will be taken by our attention thinking about the mental chatter. So we won't be able to do the things we are doing more effectively. So what we are learning here is that how do we tune down our DMN activity, right? So that we can tune up the efficiency of our task positive network. And that is through these 2 techniques, anchoring technique and this body scan technique. So how about we get started? Now we heard about this technique, let's actually do it. It is important. Just knowing about that push-ups will not make you strong. You have to actually do the push-ups. It's an analogy of your normal gyms. So this is MindGym. So we have to do these exercises, and this will make you strong enough that you can go in your life and practice those.
Okay, so I will play the 13 minutes guided meditation, breath awareness. Let me know if you can't hear.
I think we can hear.
Welcome to the MindGym guided meditation. Let us start with first exploring what exactly are we trying to do before starting on the details about the meditation technique. We will try to build up the capacity to let go of thoughts by continuously bringing our attention back on an anchor. As the attention favors the anchor, it automatically practices letting go from distracting thoughts. There are many kinds of anchors that can be used in this technique. In MindGym, we will use breath as an anchor. Breath is the simplest and most used anchor, also taught by the Buddha. Breath is always with us. It's real, and bringing our attention to it brings us to the present moment. Let us perform a couple-minute prep before starting. You can sit cross-legged on a mat, or you can sit on a chair. Be aware of your bottoms before you start and balance your weight evenly. Try to keep your back as straight as possible, but not tense. Gently close your eyes. Before you start, think about an image that triggers a natural outpouring of love. Image of pets or kids when they were little is usually very effective. Think of a time when you were a small kid and you were taken care of. Try to experience the feeling of, I'm taken care of, and hence nothing to worry about. Relax and let go of the tension in the jaw, in the shoulders, and any other place in the body that feels tight. Now we will go into belly breathing, which increases our capacity of not getting distracted by thoughts. With longer practice, it may also reduce the number of thoughts generated in our mind. The technique is quite simple. Make sure your belly goes up when you breathe in, and it goes in when you breathe out. This is different from chest breathing, where the chest goes out and the belly goes in when we breathe in, and the chest goes in and belly out when we breathe out. Focus on the belly as you breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. Do it a few times. Now, put your attention on the sensations in your back, specifically around your spine. Move the attention from the bottom of the spine to your neck and back down. Now, synchronize this up and down movement with belly breathing. Move the attention up slowly as you breathe in, and move it down along the back as you breathe out. This will help further quiet our active mind. Let us repeat this a few times. Move the attention up your spine slowly as you breathe in, and move it down along the back as you breathe out. that your mind has calmed down and the attention is starting to get focused, we will move into the meditation. Bring your attention to the breath. You don't need to breathe differently, just the normal belly breath. Watch when it enters the nostrils and comes out. Observe the warmth or the coldness. Watch the gap between the in and the out breath closely. Observe the sensations it creates below the nostrils and above the upper lip. We are using breath as an anchor in this technique. If your attention wanders into other thoughts, get it back to the breath whenever you become aware of the fact that you have wandered. We are trying to gently favor the breath. We don't want to judge ourselves or the thoughts that distracted us. We want to stay equanimous. If your attention does not wander, continue to watch the breath and the sensations it creates with more awareness. You may zone out or move into the gap between the breath and thoughts sometime during the practice. As soon as you realize you're in a zone, bring the attention back to the anchor. Keep your awareness on your breath. Be aware of your breath. Watch the warm breath in and out, and the sensations it creates above the upper lip. Be aware of your breath. If your attention wanders into other thoughts, get it back to the breath whenever you realize. No need to judge the thoughts or the drifting away. We are practicing letting go of thoughts and coming back to the anchor. Continue to watch. Stay with the breath. Keep the awareness of your breath. watch the warm breath in and out, and the sensation it creates above the upper lip. Keep your awareness. Continue to watch. Stay with the breath.
And stay with your eyes closed for another minute. We should always give enough time before resuming normal activities, normal thought activities. After meditation, after this anchoring technique. Yeah, you can open your eyes whenever you are ready. Are there any questions regarding the technique itself, or is it pretty clear?
If anyone has questions, please unmute yourself.
The breath, is it from the nose or mouth?
Nose.
Both in and out, both are nose?
Yes. So if the nose is blocked, then this may be exception, but the technique itself actually asks for breathing through the nose. Because one of the things we ask is basically this is a Buddhist technique. This is Buddha himself taught this anapana. So he asks us to put attention on the triangle just below the nose, where and above the lip. So the sensations, as you get more and more practice in this, you can actually focus on a smaller and smaller place where you can trace the sensations. So it has to be nose in order to trace the sensations above the lip.
So Prithvi, so I also went to this other type of meditation called Sahaj Samadhi. It was kind of similar, but they advocate using a personal mantra, a bij mantra, and it's kind of used as your anchor as well. I found this, breath as an anchor technique to be more, it's easier and it lets you, be more focused compared to, the bij as a mantra, because I don't know, maybe with practice that will also feel easier, but I found this to be a little bit easier compared to that. So are these kind of similar, what you're saying in that?
Yeah, that very, very, very good question, Prem, right? So in the book, actually, we cover, in MindGym, we have thought as an anchor also as an alternative anchoring technique, right? So essentially, the concept is to get your attention back to an anchor. So you can use a phonetic, which is mantra it is like a phonetic, it is almost like a thought that you're creating, and you're getting it back to that thought. You can have there are like many types of anchors you can have. There's the Vigyan Bhairav this book, the ancient book. It has like 112 ways of meditation, Kashmiri Shaivism, right? You can use a stringed instrument as an anchor. You can use your taste as an anchor. There are like many anchors, but these two are the most popular ones. The breath as an anchor, and as you said, it is simpler than thought as an anchor, because breath is easy to, because it is physical, it is more gross. You can actually sensation, so you can actually get it back easier. Thought, depending on the uh, uh, whether you are more rasic, some people actually have more thoughts than others, and they find it difficult to do thought technique, right? But in my experience, what I found is that as and when you become more and more expert in this anapana, this breath as an anchor, the entire 20 minutes you will be just focus on your nose, right? It won't go anywhere else. It will be here only. So essentially, then for me again, we are not doing the push-ups anymore, right? So I'm not doing the push-ups, because the key technique was to get it back from distraction back to anchor, right? So that movement is not happening, but it happens after you have done it quite probably a year or so, right? So in that case, you can mature to thought as an anchor, because thought is forcing you to do that, because you are bringing up that mantra and let it go, right? So you actually are forcing repetition in that. So you actually are creating something and then letting it go. So I think that is my personal opinion. So, but you're right. So you start with this and you actually try out both, and whatever works for you. Some people prefer this to other, but stick to one. Don't, when you're doing it, stick to one nut practice, right? That is the idea. So otherwise, you won't get the benefits, as much benefits.
Thank you.
Yeah, one more thing I'd like to add there, Prithvi,
Yep.
which is that, did anybody notice that their DMN activity got reduced? Which is the thoughts about, your past and future, which is basically yourself, right? We only think about ourselves in our past, or myself in my future, and so on, or people related to you and so on, right? So your primary identity thoughts is basically what the DMN, is creating. But by focusing on an anchor, which is, either the breath or the mantra or something, you are trying to reduce that flow of selfing thoughts, or past future thoughts. So notice that also, that they are getting reduced, because that is the goal, right? In order to, why are we using the anchor, right? So that the distractions get reduced. So keep noticing that goal is getting achieved to some extent also. Right?
Yeah. That is true.
Yeah, so for me, the mental chatter is, I don't know, probably been blessed, I guess. It's always been less for me. But what I've felt is, with the task mode network, say I have to do a difficult task, one that I'm not, say something at work that you're not too inclined to do. And when I force myself to do it, in the middle or even in the beginning, I tend to get distracted, and these other thoughts serve as a leisure, a leisurely distraction for me, right? That is when, usually I tend to deviate and do other things. And so that's the part that I need to work on. Maybe you have some suggestions on how we can, eliminate that.
Yeah, that is exactly what we said, right, Prem? That 127 bits you have of cognitive capacity. Now, if you actually are giving 80 bits per second for leisurely, and it is good, it will feel good. But again, the thing is, you don't have the capacity to do other things, right? So it will impact the overall productivity. And then again, I think coming back to what Sonali said, there's a subtle point there. So there are two. So we're talking about the two techniques, right? And there is one more more like a subtle dimension on this, which is the one thing is about building the muscles of letting go of distractions. That is one piece that we are learning. But you know what? There are other techniques that actually can reduce the number of distractions that get served to you, to the point that Sonali mentioned. So the DMN, the number of distractions that are getting served to you, the DMN activity itself can come down, right? And there are techniques to do that, right? So as a side effect of our second technique, which we'll do now, which is watching sensations, not only gives us the capacity of not attaching to the DMN activity, but it actually reduces the activity itself. So that was again a brilliant technique that was brought forth by Buddha, right? Vipassana, right? So it actually does. It has two benefits in it. So so that is basically what I wanted to say. So how about this, Anisha? Let's go with go ahead and do this sensation technique, the 10 minutes one.
Do you want to give a little overview of what we are going to do?
You have it there.
I have it in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to MindGym guided meditation. Today, we are going to use a technique of body scan. Practicing this technique builds our awareness of the
Sorry, there's some bandwidth issue.
body and the sensations that appear in it. Sensations have been proven to have a close link to the thoughts in our mind and emotions that rise with it. When we become aware of our sensations, it helps dissolve the emotion that generated it. This also relaxes the body and mind. The goal is to train the mind to be more open and aware of sensations and ultimately be more accepting. With time and practice, the body scan will build your ability to focus and be fully present in your life. Sit comfortably. Keep your back erect but not tense, and gently close your eyes. Relax your jaw, your shoulders. Try to feel warmth in your heart. Think of a time when you were a kid and completely taken care of. Try to experience that feeling of nothing to worry about, nowhere to go. Now, let's start with a few belly breaths. Belly breath is simple and is known to calm the mind. Belly goes out when you breathe in and goes in when you breathe out. Let's do about 5 belly breaths on our own. Breathe in, belly out. Breathe out, belly in. Now, let's begin to scan the body without any judgments. You may become aware of gross sensations more easily, like pain, heat, cold, but awareness of subtle sensations comes with practice. It's okay if you feel anything, and it's okay if you don't. Just keep complete equanimity. That is the key to this practice. Let's begin now by bringing our attention to a circle right at the top of the head. Be fully aware of any sensations you can find and gently scan the top of the head. Now slowly Bring your attention down the face. Scan the forehead first, then the eyes, then the cheeks, nose, lips, chin, your ears. Make sure you've scanned the face properly. Now slowly trace your attention down the neck. Now let's scan the left shoulder and then go down the left arm slowly. Upper arm, elbow, lower arm. Be aware of your hand, the top, and then the palm, each one of the fingers, one at a time. Now trace your way up the arm slowly while being aware of the sensations. Now we will move to scan the right shoulder, then go down the right arm slowly. See if you can find any sensations, gross or subtle. Tingling, pain. Trace your way down the arm slowly while being aware of the sensations. Be aware of the hand, the top of the hand, the palm, each one of the fingers, and slowly trace your attention back up the arm. Remember, whatever the sensations might be, pleasant or unpleasant, just observe them with complete equanimity. Now let's feel the chest area. Scan it part by part. Look for any tightness, any tingling. Now let's go down to the abdomen. Do you feel any tightness? Relax the areas if you feel any tightness or knots. Now scan the pelvic area intently. Now let's start with our left leg. Trace your way down the leg slowly while being aware of the sensations. Make sure you are scanning the front, the sides, and the back of the thighs, then the knee, then the lower leg. Then slowly move your attention down to the left foot. Do you feel any tingling or throbbing? Be aware of those toes, one at a time. The top of the foot, the bottom of the foot. See if you can be aware of any sensations, gross or subtle. Slowly trace your way up the leg. Now let's start with our right leg. Trace your way down the leg slowly while being aware of the sensation. See if you can find any tingling or pain. Maybe sensation where your thigh contacts the area you're sitting at. Go down to the knee, then the lower leg. Slowly move your attention down to the right foot. Be aware of the toes, one at a time. The top of the foot, then the bottom of the foot. Try to catch any sensations. Try to be observant of any sensations, tingling, pain, tightness. Now trace your way up the leg slowly. Now scan the hip area. Then trace your attention up the back, the lower back, the spine area, the upper back, part by part. Then the shoulders, the right shoulder, the left shoulder. Can you feel any tightness, any pain? Now go up the neck and the back of the head to the spot, the top of the head where you started from. We just did a body scan. You can keep sitting and repeat the scan a few more times if you would like. Thank you.
You can do this scanning a few more times in your normal practice. So instead of once, you can do it twice or thrice, and with practice, you can do it faster. Instead of, this was about 10 minutes, you can actually get it back, get it down as to as much as 1 minute also with practice, or even lesser. Okay, so so those are the two techniques.
Prithvi, can you just give an example, like, or maybe I can just share something like, so like when you are getting run over by an emotion, let's say an anger, which got triggered by a thought, you were not able to catch the thought when it rose up, when you were getting angry. But if you are aware of your sensations, the other way that Prithvi mentioned is to, watch that now your breath has gotten faster, your face is flushing. Any emotion starts showing in your body in the way of sensations by releasing some neurochemicals. So that is why we are building this practice. If we were not able to let go of the thought because it came way too quickly, then we see the sensations appearing in the body and we can watch that. And as you watch it, the sensations do get dissolved. And as we practice this, maybe once a day or twice a day in the morning, evening, we build our ability to catch sensations in the daily life, in our routine when, interacting with your boss or kids, and, so it's really applicable in daily life.
So I don't know why, for me, what was happening was that when I was thinking about each of the different parts, I was getting aware of more pain, like everywhere, like soon everything was hurting.
Yeah.
So like a large part of my body was hurting, or I was becoming aware about different kind of pain in my
So
back, my shoulder,
increasing.
even especially in my legs, like everything was hurting more in my legs.
Sonali, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that your awareness is increasing. So that's actually a good thing. Because, many times in our day-to-day life, we are not in our bodies so much. We're always kind of in our heads. We're constantly thinking about things and not actually feeling what's going on in the body. And, unfortunately, that's why a lot of diseases come to us too, because we are not able to recognize the earlier sensations or symptoms that something might be manifesting in the body, right? So actually this body scan is an excellent technique to ground us more in our bodies. So it's actually, I would say it's a good thing. You're recognizing whatever pains are coming up. If you can stay equanimous with the pain instead of wanting to get rid of it, and then notice what happens, it can actually dissolve on its own without you wanting it to dissolve. Then that's a good thing. But that again, comes with a little bit of practice. Initially, earlier, when the pain comes, we just want to get rid of it. So that's a very natural reaction. But the technique actually teaches us that observe without reacting. So the more and more we can do that, more and more you can get handle on your own sensations, on your own body.
Yep, that is correct. So with that, do you want to go? So I think what I will do is that now I'll hand it over to you, Sonali, right? And in fact, the bridge between these two sections is that if you keep on doing these exercises, more and more we'll have a deeper understanding of so basically with less distractions, our attention becomes a little bit more effective, it will become more expanded, and this attention itself is very mysterious, right? And the next level, if you just look at what this attention really is something beyond our imagination, and that is what Sonali is going to take us through.
Okay, thank you, Prithvi. Again, we have just about 10 minutes left, and I do want to go through the exercises a little bit, so I'll keep my talking short. So the point here is that, and as Prithvi said, these exercises allow us to look at our own minds and our own bodies, these which are the two basic components of our identity, right? When I say I'm Sonali, the person, what does the person, mainly is composed of? The person is composed of the thoughts of Sonali, which is past, present, future, and so on, and the body basically of Sonali, right? So again, the sensations and emotions that are going on in the body, right? These are the two basic components of our everyday identity. However, once we start noticing, and observing what's going on in my mind, what's going on in my body, we start to realize that there is a more subtler component to our more basic identity also there, which we have completely overlooked. But that is the foundational identity of ourselves. And it is the container, the overall container inside which our minds and our bodies are functioning. So simply the fact that I can observe my thoughts and observe the sensations of my body can give me a hint that I'm actually a little distance away from the thoughts that are happening in my awareness and also the sensations that are happening in my awareness. So the basic awareness is there, which, we also call attention. Attention is just more focused on one particular thing, while awareness is broader. However, you cannot deny, if somebody just asks you a simple question, are you aware? Can you deny that? Can you say, no, I'm not aware? Or somebody says, are you conscious right now? Can anybody or any one of us at this point say that, oh no, I'm not conscious, right? It's a very self-evident fact of our existence, something that is because we're so caught up in our thoughts or, bodily sensations. So the two techniques that, Prithvi and Anisha talk about are the ones to recognize that you can easily observe without getting caught up, without reacting to your own thoughts, your own mental patterns, and your bodily patterns. You can simply observe them, be the observer of them. And then once you start to get a handle or a hang of that, then you will automatically realize that you are much more of the observation factor than you are your own mind and body, right? So that observation factor, that awareness is actually our much more primal condition, our much more primal identity, inside which all of these other things are functioning, right? So that's where I'll stop. And this is what, our scriptures call self-realization, or in Hindi, it's called Atma Sakshatkar, right? That's all they're talking about. The ability to recognize your primal identity, your bigger identity, the context in which all of this is functioning. All right, so we can now go to these videos, which are simply very direct pointing techniques. Simply by pointing a finger at yourself, you can recognize this. So Anisha, thank you so much. We can start with 1B.
What's going on, guys? Mark Wilson here, retired U.S. Army. Been working this system here.
In the pointing experiment, we begin by directing our attention outwards, observing that everything we see has shape and color. Everything is a thing. Then gradually we direct our attention closer to ourselves until finally we're looking in, at the place we're looking out of, to see if we also have shape and color, to see if we're things at center or no thing, capacity for the world. Point at something in front of you and notice its color and its shape. It's a thing. Bring your finger down a little and point at something else and notice its color and shape. It's a thing as well. Now point down at the floor. I can see shades and patterns there in the carpet. Now point at your foot and notice its color and shape. It's a thing as well. Bring your finger up your body and point at your knee. You can see the color and shape of your knee, another thing. Bring your finger further up and point at your torso. Observe the colors and shapes there. It's a thing as well. Now bring your finger out in front of you and point back at the place where others see your face, the place you're looking out of. What do you see here? Do you see your face? Do you see your eyes, your cheeks, your mouth? Do you see any colors or shapes here? Do you see anything here at all? I'm not asking you what you believe is here. I'm asking you to put aside belief and take a fresh look. Rather than what you think is here, what do you see here? Or not see, in fact? Here's my experience. Looking in, I don't see my face. I see no eyes here, no cheeks, no mouth, nothing at all. Or to put it another way, looking in, I see emptiness. This emptiness is boundless, still, awake. I'm now seeing what I am at center, what I am from my own point of view, what I am privately. I'm now going to guide you through an extension of the pointing experiment. This involves pointing in and out at the same time, two-way pointing. This indicates that the space at center isn't just empty, it's also full. Looking in, I see the emptiness here at my center, but I cannot see this emptiness without at the same time seeing what's filling it, my view out. This emptiness is now filled with my hands, the room beyond, and with various sensations, sounds, thoughts, and so on. I find no boundary between the space here and the world there. My faceless consciousness merges with and becomes the world. Privately, I am the world. Of course, we remain aware of our public identities, of what we look like to others and to ourselves in the mirror. I'm aware that for you I'm Richard, and I identify with Richard. I identify with my face, my body, my name, my age, my thoughts and feelings, and so on. In other words, I'm aware of living a two-sided life. I have both a public and a private self. You can see my public self, but my private self is hidden from others. It's an inner secret. However, I believe that if you look there where you are, you'll see your private self, and you'll see that your private self is no different from mine. It has no face, no name, no age. It's capacity. If you're now seeing this faceless capacity where you are, then we're now sharing a wonderful secret, the secret of who we all really are. Of course, your view out from this capacity is different from mine, but the capacity itself, this boundless consciousness, is the same. Seeing that privately your space for the world is a different view of yourself from the normal view, the view of yourself from outside, the view of yourself as a person. Because not many people are yet aware of their private identity, then in a sense it's a new thing. Though of course it's not new at all. We've always been this aware emptiness, and throughout history many people have spoken about it. But if you haven't been aware of it, and then you come across it, it's normal to question whether or not this view is valid and true. For example, I can't see my face here, but I can see it in the mirror. Doesn't that prove that I have a face, that I'm not capacity at center, I'm a person? There are also other questions that come up. Alongside questions about whether or not this view is valid and true are questions about its usefulness. If I remain aware of my private identity, what difference will it make in my life and in society? We'll begin looking into these questions in part 2.
Should we move to the next one?
Yeah, we can. So are you playing the other ones, or we'll do it in the next?
So,
Anisha, are we playing anything now, because we are out of time now, right?
right. That's why I was asking. Should we play the next one? Do we have time, or
we can pick it up next session. I think the basic concept about the pointing was powerful. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the main thing, and I would recommend that everybody does this exercise at home, right? We can send out the link to the videos too. So, it's such a simple thing, but that's the reason probably that it's completely overlooked. Because, simply the fact of pointing at yourself and realizing that there is simply an aware presence over here. There is actually not a face here. The face is only seen by the other people, but by your own self, you cannot see your face, right? That's a most radical thing to even talk about. We are actually in our direct experience completely faceless. All that is here is an empty, aware presence. And that empty, aware presence contains the world. Because where else would the world arise? It's only going to arise in your awareness. So the two-way pointing, exactly shows you in 1 second, it can show you that you are this aware presence and the world is in you as opposed to being outside you. All right.
Thanks, Anali. That is important. And again, these, as you said, these are advanced topic. This is like what we call in our the self-inquiry techniques. They have been there. Like Ramana Maharishi, it was one of the foremost. It is basically what Vedanta points us to, and these are contemporary again ways of actually understanding those wisdom. Right? And once we have a little bit of a stable awareness through those exercises, where you have stable witness, as they say, then this becomes easier. But it does not stop you. Some people can get it in even without doing the meditation exercises, but they are few and far in between. So yeah, so I think we are out of time now. So have a very good weekend, everyone, and we will see you next Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
For joining.